Come on. Oh, motherfucker shit.
Trip 6.
God damn it.
Devil.
Fuck.
What's up, y'all? Joey Knuckles here. Episode 4 of Knuckles Knows How. This is going to be our first episode about the world's second oldest profession, tattooing. It's my man Lefty Lipuma. Up from Charlotte, North Carolina. We're going to bullshit a little bit about like where we kind of found traditional tattooing and like what we feel makes a good traditional tattoo, and not only like on your fucking Instagram page or your mom's MySpace or the fridge, but
not only that, but what structures a nice, an actual traditional tattoo.
Right, and where we draw inspiration from.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hand a lot of it off to Lefty because y'all already know my bullshit. So he'll start off. Where'd you go? How'd you find out about traditional tattooing? Because you tattooed for a little while before you got into like drawing old school designs, right?
Yeah. So I actually learned from a gentleman named Walt Fogarty, who, in my opinion, was doing, Aaron Kane quality biomechanics back in the late '90s when I went through my apprenticeship. So most of it was, biomechanics, portraits, and new school craziness, because that was going on at the time. Everybody thought it was revolutionized. And,
I remember that shit, man.
Yeah. He loved traditional tattoos, man. But for me personally, I thought they were really poorly drawn shit. I didn't understand it, and I wound up back down in New York, in Brooklyn, and I wound up working at this shop that.
Where was Fogarty's shop?
Fogarty's shop is in Syracuse, New York.
Okay, upstate.
Yeah, I was up there hiding out for a little bit, and I actually got lucky. The dude found me and basically saved my life by teaching me how to tattoo. Yeah, so I worked at this shop that had like 8 million things of flash, and of course it was mostly Cherry Creek and money makers that we all like to talk shit about, but
teach how to draw, right?
Have paid our rent 100 times with.
Cherry Creek teach you how to draw.
Yeah, most definitely. And I got the run of a shop, which I shouldn't have been doing, but the dude was a little weird, and his staff was really younger than me. So I rearranged some stuff and found this amazingly weird, cool, crazy looking shit that was done traditionally, and it was nothing like I haven't seen it. It wasn't clipper ships and swallows and all your
Americana
shit.
shit.
Yeah, it was Americano. It was a guy named Dan Higgs. And,
fucking Higgs.
Yeah, man, that dude.
And if you don't know who Dan Higgs is, you're on another fucking planet where you're tattooing. Yeah, you ain't paying attention. Look at it, every fucking time we record. Something on the avenue. City living, baby. Anyways, back at it.
There you go.
Dan Higgs.
Yeah, so Dan Higgs, never met the dude, never heard of the dude back then. I really didn't know anything other than what I saw in tattoo magazines, and it was still the era of you don't talk to nobody other than your shop kind of stuff. No one liked to talk to one another. No one liked to share shit. So finding that stuff,
like a little bit more competitive nature.
Yeah,
right? It just wasn't friendly.
It was definitely not friendly, and it was definitely more of a competitive nature. Whereas you were scared to lose your job every day because the guy down the street wasn't going to hire you, and you couldn't just open up your own shop. So you'd have to either move out of state or figure out some kind of way to do this magical thing that somebody gave you. Like tattooing was magical, man. And once you get it, you can't. At least me personally, I could never see living my life without it at the time. I was so hungry for it, and at the time too, I started like trying to figure out history behind it, because the guy who taught me really didn't. It was biker stuff, and it wasn't really like, oh, this is tattooing, you should learn about it, or you should check this guy out.
That's something that I run into a lot where I meet some younger cats or something, and they're like, oh, I wish I knew the history of stuff, and I wish I knew this and stuff like you, and this and that. And I'm like, I wasn't fucking born knowing it. And I didn't fucking like have anybody teach me like, yo, go read this.
And that was the thing.
So kids hit me up constantly with that same kind of like, oh, well, I wish I knew this about that and all this. And this is an age where you can find the fucking information anything with your fucking telephone. You can find it fucking anywhere. And then even for me, I'm not super old, but it wasn't there. You know?
No.
And so I saw out. If it said the word tattoo, I read it. If it said the word tattoo, I bought it. You know, I collected it. I absorbed it. And to me, now everybody's like, oh, what books should I read? I'm like, all of them. Like fucking everyone you get your fucking hands on.
I have found some of the
You want to be a doctor? Read every book about fucking spleens.
There you go, dude. You know, and honestly, with this internet thing, you can find out more history than anybody, man. I used to, you know, I had an apprentice at a shop I worked at that before the internet, we made him, as a homework assignment, he had to go and write a 3-page article on whichever artist we told him.
I've done that. Yeah, I've made some book reports. My apprentice Charlie did some book reports.
Sure,
on
there you go.
Sure.
You know, find out about personal works, find out about, you know.
Yeah, get your fucking head out of your ass.
Yeah, learn some stuff that you didn't know, you know, and you know, being said back to that, you know, when I was coming up, people really didn't talk that much. And as far as like the people not talking for shops and stuff, one of the funniest things was, you know, I had Christmas dinner with Jack Rudy, family events with Jack Rudy.
Drop his name right here.
Oh, sorry. My point being, as much as, you know,
yeah, I mean, I'm sweating it.
I didn't know who the fuck he was.
I'm free from fucking Easter or
dude,
New Year's.
You know, like
Jack Holler.
He was friends with my buddy's parents, and I would go hang out with my buddy.
I love Jack.
Because I didn't really have a family, so I hung out with him and his family, and he was just Jack, you know. And it was like, oh, Jack tattoos, and for the first year, I'd be like, hey man, check this out. I did this on his son, man. It's cool, right? And then I found out who the fuck he was, and I saw his shit, and I was like, man, don't look at my stuff. You fucking kidding me?
So let's reel it in. Like let's start the topic of you know, what your kid right now, you want to do a tattoo, right? You're like, I love traditional tattoos. 10 things they're not going to use. Let's make it easier. 5 things they're not going to use and you say they should use. If you want to make a nice traditional tattoo that's going to last forever. Not just for Instagram picture.
A nice traditional tattoo that's going to last forever.
5 items they should use that you know they're not going to use.
Okay. Your needle grouping should be a 3 to a 5 or 7. You know, those 14 liners that you all are using to make it look like an old school tattoo.
Yeah.
That's a tattoo that's been there 30 years. That started out as a type 5.
Chad Knight from Philly told me, he's like, if it looks like 1942 today, what's it going to look like 2021?
That's exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you just fucking pay attention to that.
That you want to use.
2.
Number 2, heavy black, and a good ratio between black, color, and skin. You know, my biggest thing when I was learning that whole traditional thing is if it looks finished with the black in it, you really can't fuck it up that bad by putting color. You know, you got to strive pretty hard to fuck it up with color.
Yeah. When the lines are done, it should look good.
Yeah.
When the black is done, it should look finished. And when the color, it's extra.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You should learn about how to.
But, you know, kids are using a lot of black now, though. On traditional.
Well, here's the thing.
Some of them are really
overusing
custom.
black,
Yeah.
which I think is the problem. You know,
Shit,
black's heavy. You know, here's the deal. You're hearing like, you know, bold will hold and
It is,
more
yeah.
black. You know,
You're overdoing
the
it,
problem is you're overdoing it now, and
I've
a
done
lot of
I've
it.
done it. I know from experience.
Yeah, a lot of it. Man, I'm a lettering guy too, man. The lettering with all the fucking peppered out black shading to give like weird shit behind the. It's just gonna look like a black player, man. You know, it's a cool effect.
Except for you, bees.
Yeah, except for you. You do that shit. Ooh, don't worry about
Troy
it.
Moore.
But yeah, man, too much black. I never ever thought I would say there's too much black.
Oversaturation. You know,
Oversaturation.
something I see is like a lot of the color blended tattoos where everybody's using the pins. The colors are oversaturated to where, you know, these colors that kind of age, like they change a bit. Like, you know, 5 skin tones on a cheek.
Well,
It's like, what colors
and
that
there's a reason.
Because I've watched blue turn to green over time.
So
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know, in regards of like not giving away too many secrets and stuff, you know, how you form color blends is a pigment when you whip shade out, which you're not doing with a pen. I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to do the correct whip shading using
you know, like a pepper shade or
like
whatever.
a pepper shade. Yeah.
What's up, guys? We're back. We had a little technical difficulty.
A little something. Need to get a little
Lefty.
extra on my neck.
Lefty here had to get that PMA treatment from Big B's downstairs. So we were talking about what are the 5 things that a kid right now is trying to do as a traditional tattoo, or 5 things you should do to make a traditional tattoo that kids aren't doing. Number 3.
So number 3 was, we were talking a little bit about...
We did line continuity of like what size liners.
Okay.
Black shading.
Black shading. So color theory basically. The way you're creating your color blend is, without giving too much or not giving anything away, it's created by tiny little dots mixing with one another. So when you pepper shade back and forth into one another is how you create a blend from, say, red, orange, yellow. The red and orange, even the red into the gold, you can create an orange mix in between, but it's created by a bunch of tiny little dots. Now these kids with these pens, you're not whipping anything out, so you're not creating dots to form next to each other to create a blend naturally. You're packing color on top of color, and you're doing like 6 different colors where you can do a nice smooth blend with 2. You don't need
Simplicity.
Absolutely.
So number 3, a color theory, moving in like a plan with your color.
Plan with your color.
Number 4.
Number 4 is
like, keep in mind we're saying things they're not using. In my mind, I think flash.
Most
kids they're just drawing shit.
Most definitely. Flash.
Like when I do a traditional tattoo, if it's traditional style, you better believe it's a piece of flash. Like I don't really draw traditional. I'm more of an illustrative style drawer.
Sure.
Yeah, I draw illustrative style.
Well, here's the deal. Traditional isn't, in my opinion, the imagery. As much as people like to think, like, oh, it's a clipper ship, a fucking bird. It's how it's put in, which is what we're talking about now. So flash, in essence, traditional flash, whether it be a clipper ship or a bird, or you get into stuff like Ken Higgs type of stuff, which is what made me want to learn how to do traditional properly, gives you the basis of all these things we're talking about. So even though your clients don't like flash, or they don't want to get flash because it's off the wall.
Clients like what you tell them to like, in my opinion.
This is true. Yeah, I get that.
You can't get the right
but
way.
they don't want it off the wall, even though they'll bring in something off their phone that 80,000 people have the same thing. If you draw and paint flash properly, then your designs are going to be better. You're learning to build them. Placement is the other thing.
So this is number 5? This is number 5?
No, I'd say this is number 4.
Still
subtopic.
Subtopic.
Yeah. Placement is definitely a large sum of it. You're not learning to use the shapes of the bodies because you're looking at stuff that other people did. So you're doing a watered down version of a watered down version. You're not thinking of the shape of the body and what the natural curves are.
I agree with that.
Now with a man, you can kind of get away with that a lot more because it's a burly man. It doesn't fucking matter. But a female, if you cut a curve on a female with a straight line, you fuck that whole woman's body up, man. You can't do that.
Yeah, can't do it. So let's keep on topic. Number 5. I'm just gonna throw one out there. Maybe it's not what you're thinking. Heart and fucking soul, man. Integrity, love. Like it can be intangible, man. Like the intangibles are completely missing in tattooing.
Heart and soul is the biggest thing missing in tattooing now. Ego has replaced it all. The problem being, and back to Dan Higgs, man. Like I said, a friend of mine found a couple copies of a book he put out called The Doomsday Bonnet.
Yeah.
That was a tiny little book. It had amazing lyrics in it because,
he's an artist of all
He's an artist of every single shape. And a bunch of his fucking paintings in it. And my dude who, I'm computer illiterate, so I had him order it with his PayPal account and just give him cash. And when it came, he couldn't believe I spent $100 on this fucking book, which is actually worth a hell of a lot more, period. But to me, it was worth gold because that's the man who made me decide to learn how to draw traditional.
For me, I gotta be real, man. Like, I want to say somebody really cool. I want to say Stoney. I want to say Bob Roberts. But you know who it is, man? It's that goddamn Sailor Jerry. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm talking like in the beginning. Like, I've obviously moved on past that style and taste. I've delved into everybody. But what Jerry just drew is so right. Jerry and Ed, I know it's saying those names just kind of are synonymous with everybody's first said, but goddamn, I love them, man. Ed's stuff just still fucking shakes my soul.
And here's the thing, Ed
it's
was
just
the
done
first.
Correct.
Ed,
There's a difference between with style. Like you and I, we both tattoo with style.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Those dudes tattoo correctly.
Ed and Jerry definitely pushed the boundaries and changed the game completely. Jerry bringing Japanese style and layouts into traditional Americano stuff. Ed Hardy bringing more of that art flair, and he was the first one before Hicks to do the kind of blends and morphs out. Esoteric, turning creatures into humanoid type figures.
So for me, those are the dudes I learned to draw traditional looking at. If we're saying who's my favorite old tattooer that did Flash, Stoney Sinclair, hands down. Columbus, Ohio legend. You know what I'm saying?
Percy Waters.
Yeah, Waters. I mean, dude. I love the Waters.
Percy Waters. Stoney is hands down my favorite person to watch tattoo.
Hero. Stoney taught the guy that taught the guy that taught the guy that taught me. You know what I'm saying? I'm in Stoney's direct.
I actually found a old Carney magazine from back in the day about sword swallowers and clown, all sorts of crazy shit, and had an article on Stoney Sinclair and at a flea market in Brooklyn.
Yeah, Knuckles knows how, man. That's where I got, Stoney's who I draw a lot of inspiration from everything, All right, guys, so number 5. We still got one more. Man.
Okay.
We got art, because we can't really call Heart and Soul. What's one thing they're not tattooing with when they're doing traditional tattoos they should? Education.
Yeah, definitely. Education.
Reading a book.
I would say a big thing that bothers me is people not using the accessibility as they have now.
Tell me about it.
If Jerry or any of those guys had the accessibility of a thermofax and the colors we have,
the internet,
they would use all of it.
Jerry would tore the internet.
I'm not even talking about it. If he had the ability to use a goddamn thermofax, the stencil wouldn't wipe off, you can almost guarantee not even how accurate, but how complicated he would do it with simplicity.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
That's the thing.
Not using the fact.
When we're talking about traditional, sorry, man.
No, you're good.
Oh, vodka's kicking in. When we're talking about traditional tattoos, to me, we're not talking about how good of an illustrator are you, because I think a lot of kids come in like, oh, I draw better than that. And it's like, yeah, you do, and everybody kind of draws better than that. But does that make for the right tattoo? Like shouldn't necessarily draw to your greatest ability of detail for every tattoo that you do. I think that's a point missed by a lot of people right now.
Sure.
Where it's like they want to throw everything fancy. I mean, we went through our period, the new school period. Yeah. Everything we did was fucking double fancy.
Okay, so that is a major thing that these kids need to look at, because they think. I hear a lot about us being old crusty motherfuckers and we can't do what they can do, and they're changing the game with what they're doing as far as
tattoo their mom's dick.
Yeah, whatever, color portraits or whatever, and that's part of it, the whole shit about that I was talking is your layouts suck because you have the portrait that you're doing, you don't know how to create a background, and you're using colors that are so close to the flesh itself instead of just using the flesh as the actual basis for a skin tone.
I'm guilty
of that. And within a couple days, give it a year or two, and that thing's dead.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can't say that we're not guilty of the fucking same things we're talking about.
No, we did this in the 90s. So you as newer tattoo artists, instead of saying you can do stuff.
Yeah, I already failed at what you're trying to do.
Yeah, we failed at doing it, dude. Look at what was done in the 90s. We did it. We thought we could change the game.
That's why we learned backwards.
Exactly.
When you're going to really start getting it, when you really start understanding tattooing and not just telling people that you're understanding tattooing, is when you start to regress and make your designs more simple to cover a better area of space and just mapped out and smarter,
Sure.
But we're not trying to be a dick to anybody who's coming in, right?
No, we're just
We're just
trying to let you know the stuff that you are thinking you're doing better. Don't even take our word for it. Go look at the work that was done in the 90s. It's not the same. You're doing color portraits. We did twisty blenders and toasters and shit like that.
Gold light sources.
Exactly. With 6 different fucking glows of texture,
And none of it holds up.
No,
I'll show you.
It's technically done exactly the same as what you're doing with a color portrait, with a different subject matter.
Yeah.
And that's why we're like, hey, it doesn't work. And I think maybe you're just looking at it going, well, you did different subject matter, and we're doing, more different stuff.
Moral of the story is, just challenge yourself to do the greatest tattoo that you can do. And that doesn't necessarily mean push the art further. That means apply it the right way, make sure it heals well, make sure your composition's correct, treat the customer excellent, be nice to your other people.
Please take your headphones off and talk.
Be a personality, man.
The biggest chunk of this that a lot of people, I think, as newer generation are trying to strive to do that perfect traditional tattoo. They're missing the traditional aspect of tattooing, which is being a carny and giving your client a good time.
And if you don't got a personality, you're never going to be interviewed on this fucking bedroom office TV show that has fucking 17 followers on YouTube. You little fucking prick motherfuckers, we're watching you. We got our eyes on you. We got to wrap it up. I'd like to thank Lefty, shedding a little light on us. And again, this dude's been in the game forever. We've been friends for a long time. And, everybody keep chugging along, comment, tell us what you think, tell us to fuck off, go fuck yourself, tell your mom to go fuck herself, she can go tell her dad to go fuck himself, and then you guys can all go fuck yourselves together, because we don't give a shit. So,
and at the end of the day, do one thing, man, check your ego once, and learn, listen to a story from somebody, dude, whether he's been tattooing a year longer than you, or 20 years longer than you, or even an apprentice, man. I learned some shit about lettering from an apprentice who was a sick dude, man. Don't ever think you're above anybody.
You got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so listen twice as much as you fucking talk.
There you go.
Knuckles knows how. Stay tuned for episode 5. Thanks again to Justin Lipuma.
Thank
you want to
you.
give a shout out to any websites or Instagrams?
Ace Custom Tattoo in Charlotte, North Carolina. I appreciate it very much.
Follow him on Instagram at Lefty Lipuma. Spell it.
Lefty Lipuma. And I'd also like to give a big shout out to Mike Wilson, Juan Puente, Scott Sylvia,
Goldberg.
Jason Goldberg. God damn it. Fuck yeah, Goldberg is killer. Marty Lacasse. These are guys that influenced me and taught me what I know as far as traditional or about tattooing and how to be a tattoo artist. And these are guys that changed the game of traditional tattooing by painting the flash in their shop.
It's not too late to still learn something from those guys, man. Go get tattooed by them.
Fuck yeah, go get tattooed by them.
That's how you learn.
Go get tattooed by them, man.
So we gotta wrap this up. We're just a couple old dicks talking shit now.
Fuck yeah.
Peace out. Knuckles knows how. Look out for episode 5, you fucks.